Good afternoon, everyone. I hope this message finds you fit and fine. And in our journey of Indian Constitution, today we need to talk about Part 4A. It means fundamental duties. But before we start, why duties as a part was not added in original Constitution? Why it was added later by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act? And when we talk about the nature of fundamental duties, there's a word which is used, non-justiciable, not enforceable via court if law is not present. If such is the status, then why the word fundamental was used? So what are the political principles which actually shaped up this Part 4A? So as we start with the question, let's start with the question. So in mains, consider a question is asked, discuss the conception of fundamental duties as enshrined in Indian Constitution. I am repeating, please note it down. Discuss the conception of fundamental duties as enshrined in Indian Constitution. And consider there is another question, and where this word discuss is replaced with examine. So now tell me, would your approach to that particular answer would be different when the word discuss is used and another question word examine is used, or you are going to use same content, same answer structure? What do you think? Come on. These are the intricacies, details on which you have to play to get into the merit list. Because polity is not just about understanding the provisions, what is written. Okay, we have to understand the principal part, also how we need to apply this knowledge in exam, right? So think on this. That's the only purpose. I have no expectations from you as of now, because journey has just started. चलिए, तो इस पे सोचना है आपको. You have to think around it, and by the end of this session, you are going to have comfortable, scenario to answer this question. So fundamental duties, Article 51A, and within 51A, capital A, क्योंकि we have added this as a separate amendment. A to K, these are the subclauses. Part 4A. Now, when we use this word duty, you should understand, although in our Constitution fundamental duties were not originally added, but duty as a conception in political reality. What does it mean? It means if we look back into the political systems of ancient time and medieval time, much importance was given to duties. And this importance was even more than rights. But don't you think, according to our constitutional scheme, this particular area is actually inverse, right? Because rights, we have given more preference, for example, FRs. But when it comes to duties, they are not given that stature, that importance. Now my question, my friends, are that why? What was the reason behind? What were the reasons in the mind of constitutional framers? Because I've told you, in ancient time, in medieval time, more stress was on duty. And why more stress was on duty? Because it was conceptualized that when it comes to citizens, they are enjoying benefits of state, and for efficient working of state, these citizens performing their duties is essential. So this was the logic. That's why in ancient medieval time, more stress was given on duty, what citizens need to do. And even if you look back into ancient Greece, there was a time when citizenship was given on the basis whether you will be able to contribute into the affairs of state or not. That's why women, children, and old people were not even given citizenship, because they would not be able to perform these duties which are necessary for working of the state. And why we are talking about this in fundamental duties part? The reason is UPSC is asking these kind of questions nowadays. expecting you to understand these concepts. Why part? Okay. Now, so if this was the logic, then why are constitutional framers focused on rights, not on duties? What made them change their mind? Answer is because they were framing this constitution in a different time. We call it modern time. And in modern time, the conception of rights was quite prevalent. Take a look over this matrix. Individuals are given rights by our constitution, for example, fundamental rights along with other rights, legal rights. And when it comes to state is given duty. Because in part 4 we have read DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, means our constitution is saying, oh state, you have to do this. Right? But what about duties of individual? They are not present there. So this can be considered as a relation between individual and state. But why? Answer is, in modern time, this concept of constitutionalism became prevalent. Number one reason is this. And this reason, so what is constitutionalism? You can simply understand it as of now, because we are talking about fundamental duties, that by this we are actually restricting arbitrary action of state. Arbitrary, focus need to be given on state. Arbitrary action of state. Because constitutionalism doesn't mean a state which is run by a constitution is constitutionalism. No. Constitutionalism means where rule of law is prevalent, where concepts like liberty, equality are prevalent, where state cannot abridge, or you can state actions cannot be arbitrary. That is the fundamental of constitutionalism. So when you talk about constitution, don't you think in this case how it can happen? It can only happen when restriction on arbitrary action of state. You can only impose this when you impose duty on state. What state need to do? Okay? And it was found. Second reason was it was found in medieval period, especially this concept of duty to citizens, duty to citizens, and devoid of rights, means conception of rights was not popular. Devoid of rights. It was actually leading to exploitation of people. So because this has happened in the past, that when you give duty to these citizens and give liberty to state, this happens. So that is why, as a solution, what they thought, let's give duty to state and rights to citizen, right? But along with this, they were not saying that, oh, citizens need not to do any duty. Aisa nahi tha. This was not the case. According to them, rights and duties are correlative. There can be a statement based question on this in your prelims. Please remember. Rights and duties are correlative. What does it mean? It was said that when you enjoy a right and you don't perform your duty, then it will be considered as abridgment of someone's right. So actually, rights and duties can only exist when they are together, because balance is needed. For example, consider you are talking about, I need my right as mentioned in Article 19. So you have all the rights mentioned in Article 19, subclause 1, subclause A, B, C, D, right? And all. But you are not performing your duties. For example, to uphold the principles of Indian Constitution. For example, you can say cherishing the ideals on which India as a state was formed, respecting national anthem, national flag. Now, if you are disrespecting national anthem, national flag, if you are contravening the laws which are necessary for law and order, don't you think your such actions will abridge the prevalence of conception of rights in our society? Because others' rights will be compromised. So it means rights and duties are interlinked. According to Gandhi ji, when we are going to perform our duties, we are on its own, we are going to have some rights for us. And this was not some pravachan, there was a logic inside. And logic was, consider that all of us know that I am here and this is what I need to do. And all of you start doing that, so that our system becomes better, efficient. Don't you think it will naturally lead to all of us getting our due space to actually grow, right? So it means duties are connected to rights, okay? And in ancient Indian political thought, this conception of fundamental duties is also connected to that. There was a concept of Dharma. Now some of you might be saying, sir, Dharma and fundamental duties part 4A? Yes, they are connected. Dharma is not religion. I'm not talking about religion, Hindu, Muslim, no. Dharma as a concept connects to duty. And it says that Dharma, duty, is necessary for stability. Only when we do our duty, then only there can be stability. Take example of your home. Your father do certain duties for your home. Your mother performs certain duties for your home. I hope you were also performing certain duties for your home. Don't you think, since your mother was performing some duty, your father were performing some duty, you were actually quite stable. Okay, this I can get from mother, this I can get from my father, and that's how I can work in a balanced manner. The work, the life in home is balanced when everyone performs their duty, right? So similarly, when it comes to society, when each one of us perform our duty, then only there can be stability, then only there can be progress. So it is also connected to this concept of dharma and duty. So if it is clear to you by now, mention yes. And UPSC can make such statements, okay? One statement from here in prelims, another from here, correlative, and another statement from here, okay, and one from here. I hope you are clear with these dimensions. Now, in part 4A, you have in total 11 duties. When Indira Gandhi ji was Prime Minister of India, during this internal emergency period, she recognized that people should also know their importance for realizing the aims of nation. What she meant at this point of time, let me tell you. She said individuals, and when she's saying individuals, she was talking about citizens. Citizens are active participants in realizing national goals. And these lines need to be used in your mains answer. Realizing national goals. So she was saying, citizens are not mere spectators. Spectators hote hain kaun? Those who are sitting on the fence and looking, oh, what we have achieved now, let's ask central government, let's ask state government. No, that's a wrong way, the way you relate with your nation and its realization of goals. We all are active participants. It means we have to perform certain tasks on daily basis, then only our nation can become great. That's a fact. Many of us don't connect with this fact at deeper level, but that's a reality. Now, to realize these people that you are active participants, it is important to tell that they have some fundamental duties. Okay? So she gave this task to Sardar Swarn Singh, that you do the research and tell us what kind of fundamental duties need to be added in our constitution. So Sardar Swarn Singh recommended 8 fundamental duties, plus 2 more were added by government, and that's how 10 fundamental duties were added through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, okay, during the time of Indira Gandhi ji. Thereafter, one more fundamental duty was added through 86th Constitutional Amendment Act. We are talking about duty. So, what clicks into your mind when we talk about 86th Constitutional Amendment Act? We have repeated this 3 times. We talked about this in FR, then DPSP, and now FD. So, we are talking about education. It means if you are a parent, you have a child, then it is your fundamental duty that you have to give that child adequate opportunity to educate and grow. So this fundamental duty was added, and that's how we have now total 11 fundamental duties in part 4A. Okay. An interesting point is Sardar Swarn Singh also recommended that these fundamental duties should be enforceable as becoming part of this constitution, means part 4A. If anyone don't do this fundamental duty, then it should be punishable by law. Means he was saying punishable by law. So tell me whether this recommendation of Sardar Swarn Singh was accepted by Indira Gandhi government or not. Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on, we are talking about a recommendation. Answer is no, because it was not considered punishable. Okay. Now I am making a statement and you have to tell me that statement is true or false or not. Okay. Statement is fundamental duties are not enforceable by law. Now tell me the statement is true or false. Come on, in comments. Welcome Abhi, Hitambra, everyone. Tell me the statement is true or false. Come on. True, false. According to my experience, many students will say, sir, it's quite basic question. Its answer is yes. Fundamental duties are not enforceable by law. How many of you think answer is yes? My friends, answer is no. The statement is actually false. So you can say my advice to you is that whenever this word enforceable is used, don't just get into this zone ki acha this is not enforceable. Also read what is written after enforceable. Okay, so it means what the reality is. Reality is fundamental duties are non-justiciable okay, point number 1. Point number 2, non-enforceable. अब देखिएगा enforceable by court unless law is present in this regard. What is the difference now? Because when we say not enforceable by law, it means even by law you cannot enforce fundamental duty. So वो तो वो वाली बात हो जाएगी, एक तो गलत होता है एक सरासर, that would be सरासर wrong, because we have some laws regarding enforcement of fundamental duties. We are going to talk about those laws also in this video. Okay, so what the difference is, and non-enforceable by court means you cannot knock the door of court. Oh, this Abhi and this Mobinul Haq has not performed their duty, and that's why court, please give them punishment. Then court will say, let me check whether there is some law made by parliament regarding enforcement of fundamental duty or not. If court finds, oh, there is a law there that they should respect national flag, they should respect national anthem, they should respect national heritage, they should absolve violence of public property or engage in destruction of public property. So if there is law there and punishment is 6 months, then in this case court will pronounce the judgment, oh, law in this regard is present, so it means now they will get punishment. Okay, so there's a difference, non-enforceable by court unless and this. Okay, I hope you got clarity. If you are clear now, mention clear. Now, please take a look here. Characteristics. First is moral and civic duties. Moral. The word moral is used because they are considered as moral obligations. Obligations means what you should do. Moral means some ground of good which is better for everyone. Right? And why this is used? Because in part 4a, no explicit mention of punishment is there. Highlight values of Indian traditions, religion, practices and mythology. So this is second. And third is Parliament can enforce them with legislation. Law can be made. Fourth, only applicable to citizens. Please remember that. There can be a statement, question on this. And many students will get trapped if the word is used any individual. Any individual who is resident in India is means fundamental duties are applicable on that person. So what do you think? It would be true or false? Come on. In the haphazard manner, in the pressure of exam, many students will say, yeah, if someone is resident, then at least that person should respect Indian national flag, respect national anthem. It means fundamental duties are applicable on that person. But that would be wrong, because these are applicable only on citizens. Okay? What's the difference? There can be a law made by Parliament which explicitly mentions that anyone who is in India, anyone means anyone, has to respect the local laws, has to respect the national flag, national anthem. So in this case, this law is explicitly mentioning that this particular provision is applicable on citizen as well as alien. But when it comes to part 4a of Indian Constitution, where we use the word fundamental duties, those are applicable only on citizens. If you are clear about the difference, mention yes. Now fifth, non-justiciable. You cannot knock the court, or I told you the reason. In what case? Now sixth, non-legal sanctions against their violation. Because this is not mentioned in part 4a. Legal sanctions can be made by Parliament. Now take a look over the statement of Vivekanand ji. It is duty of every person to contribute in development and progress of India. Okay? And if you have read newspaper on 28th February, there was a judgment from Madras High Court, where Madras High Court has said that fundamental duties should be legally enforced in India now. Because they think that for vibrant democracy, contribution of individuals, means citizens, is necessary. And this particular judgment and this line can be a scope of question for you in mains. Okay, and there you have to use the you can say dimension coming from this Dharma concept, duty concept, as well as evolution of the concept of duty and rights, correlative, and how rights became superior, earlier duties were superior, and how it is necessary for democracy. Okay, the statement which was made by Indira Gandhi, that can also be used. Okay, now Swarn Singh committee, I've already told you, need felt during internal emergency 75-77. Sardar Swarn Singh, I've told you, 42nd amendment, then 86th amendment, total 11. Now, what are the fundamental duties mentioned? So, A is, so just go through that one by one, and after that, I'm also going to tell you a trick to remember all of these. Okay, because one kind of question which can be asked is, which of the following is not mentioned as fundamental duty in part 4a of Indian Constitution. So how you can do that? If you just remember the keywords, which are mentioned in this part 4a, then job will be done. To abide by the Constitution, respect ideals, institutions, national flag, national anthem. To cherish and follow the noble ideals that inspired national struggle for freedom. So first of all, you should respect the Constitution, you should respect the national anthem, you should respect the national flag and the institutions established as per the constitutional scheme. So when you are done with that, then you should remember that we are free due to the struggle, due to the many, you can say, sacrifices which were made by our previous generations. So you should respect the ideals on the basis of which they fought this battle, okay, and our life of this kind is made possible. Then comes the third one related to sovereignty, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. That is the third one, okay. To defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. So first one was Constitution, means national flag, national anthem, that needs to be respected. Thereafter, you need to cherish the ideals of the freedom struggle. Third, you need to respect the sovereignty, unity and integrity. Now fourth, you should be ready to serve whenever nation needs you. For example, Ukraine needs their citizens to take up arm against Russian intervention. Similarly, if it happens, God forbid, then you need to be ready. This is a fundamental duty. Now, to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcend religion, linguistic, regional or sectional diversity. It means there should be no discrimination in your mind and action on these bases, and renounce practices which are derogatory to dignity of women. Okay, so it means any social evil. Now you can realize that banning of entry in certain sanctums of temple, although the different opinions are there. So this particular practice was also read in this context, that this practice is derogatory to women because you are considering women as impure in that particular time. Similarly, caste-based discrimination. Similarly, you can say some hateful speeches, resentment on the religious line, they all are actually against the fundamental duty. And why it was added? Because, my friends, if India is this carriage, then we all need to work in the same direction. That's how we can progress. If we all are thinking and acting in different directions, then do you think that India can progress? Can we go here in a shortened time possible? No, we can be at halt, right? So that's why we need all to be together. Means brotherhood as a fundamental duty is mentioned in subclause E. Okay. Now, to value and preserve the rich heritage and the country's composite culture. So you should respect the heritage. It means you should respect the, you can say, monuments, symbols, whatever is connected to Indian history and India's present. Now, there is one way of reading this, okay, this is written. And another way which I want you, all of you should inculcate, is that you should think on this line that, oh, how I can use this dimension in my essay. Why culture is given so much importance? Because for many people who are reading this fundamental duty, they consider this is the least important fundamental duty. Theek hai. But the kind of essays UPSC is asking nowadays and kind of analytical questions, 2-3 analytical questions which UPSC asks, there your clarity and depth of thought will be reflected. And this is the difference between people who are reading Indian polity for knowledge sake, right? And the difference that the people who are going to be in the merit list. Because if you have to be a civil servant, you have to run this country, then you should have those qualities, na? And you should connect them with other aspects. For example, what Mahatma Gandhi was talking about, importance of culture. What Rabindranath Tagore was talking about, what Vivekananda was talking about. Because if you have to destroy a nation, just hit the roots, and roots are culture. Destroy the culture of a nation, and then they will not have anything to be proud of, and then they will follow you. And you should connect them with what Britishers were doing with us. And that's why it is important for us to understand the importance of this duty. You should read about the concept of Orientalism. This is a star point in my class. Orientalism. Why Britishers were actually spending so much on British scholars to read about Indian culture and then interpret Indian culture. For a good amount of period of Indian history, we were knowing about us, we were looking at us by a lens which was given by Britishers and other Western scholars. So they were explaining us that we lack any strategic culture. They were explaining us that we are not that much practical. We are rudimentary. We have so many social evils. Evils are present in every society, and with the movement of society, it is our duty to actually root out those evils. But we were actually interpreted like we are barbaric, and they are here to civilize us, and we were enchanted with the British culture, British way of life. If you ask some people of that time why you want to study, I want to be like an Englishman. Why you want to be like an Englishman? Because you are so much attached to their way of life. Because they have said your way of life is poor. So these narratives, these sentences are floated so that you lose something which you should be proud of. Then it becomes easier to control you. Okay? So that's why this fundamental duty is important. I hope you are clear now how you need to use it beyond this particular part. Now, you can see environment, right? To protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lake, river, wildlife, and to have compassion. Now, compassion for nature. But the point is, are we doing something in this regard? If any one of you mention NGT, then I'm going to tell you, sarasar wrong. Why? Because we are talking about fundamental duties, not DPSP. And fundamental duties are about us, what we are doing in this regard. So do you know some citizen-centric solution to protection of environment? Do you know some solutions in this regard? So many reports or editorials keep coming in now that Mr. Rajendra Singh, Waterman has done this. Sundarlal Bahuguna did this. Right? So it means these solutions should come from the people. Okay? Because our life is connected to environment. To develop scientific temper, humanism. So what is the difference? First of all, scientific temper so that we can actually remove social evils. Okay? Which are stopping our growth. Humanism, that our philosophy of life should be centered on welfare of humans. The spirit of inquiry and reform, that we should keep questioning what we are doing right and what we are doing wrong. And if we identify, oh, this we are doing wrong, then we can reform it. And this is the only way of progress. There should be a spirit in all of us. To safeguard public property and abjure violence. If you are engaged in acts like this, so who is the actual, you can say, actual person or people on receiver end? We all are. Means taxpayers' money is getting destroyed. Next is excellence, means to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual, collective activity so that nation constantly raises to higher levels. Because it is said that if each one of us just start doing our work in proper manner, then nation will change. Grand design, great plans, they all are based on one very fact, that we Indians start doing small things in excellent manner. That's it. India will be great. So this is the fundamental duty mentioned here. To provide opportunities, this is the last one, which was added through 86 Constitutional Amendment Act. From age 16 to 14 years, that it is the responsibility of parents to provide education to his child and ward. Okay. Now, what are the significance of these fundamental duties? Although from our discussion until now, many things are clear to you, but you should remember these phrases so that you can use readily them in your answer. Citizens to be conscious, so that you are aware, okay, how we need to engage in the development of India. Okay, you are the stakeholder, you are the participant, not mere spectator. Then deter from anti-national and anti-social activities, because if a nation is internally weak, then external circumstances will give such a shock which is going to destroy the present as well as future. Inspire citizens towards nation building and discipline. Remind citizens of their necessity in achieving national goals. Means individuals are necessary for achieving national goals. It is not just government is responsible for achieving national goals. Help courts examine. Yeah, this is another important part. If you remember, Article 31C. So Article 31C was talking about if a law is made taking inspiration from DPSP's 39B, 39C. So in this case, even if this particular law abridges Article 14, Article 19, yet this law will not be considered as null and void. So in this case, judicial review was actually used considering DPSPs in mind. Similarly, courts can actually use fundamental duties while actually doing judicial review. Okay, so that constitutionality of a law can be enshrined. Okay, if law is made and it is written fundamental duty, then court can say, oh, this is part of constitution as well. So it means your making of law represent the spirit of constitution. Okay, this is okay. Strengthens democracy. Because democracy is not just we getting into some election and deciding who is going to be elected from our area. According to one famous scholar, MacLeish, democracy is a act which all of is you can say is our series of actions which we have to perform on daily basis. I am repeating this. According to Professor MacLeish, democracy means series of actions which we have to perform on daily basis. Some of you might be thinking, oh, I am studying as of now. So is that something related to democracy? Democracy as an idea, you know that it is about that we are the active participant of this political system. It means your presence, your actions matter. Your aspirations matter, and they can only matter when you act in this manner. And democracy as an idea is not just connected to your relation with state, your relation with government, no. Because democracy as an idea is also based on equality. And that is why in every action we perform, we have to uphold the principles of liberty, equality, that we should treat people in equal manner. That is, humanism approach should be there. We should not abridge the liberty of people so that their potential get obstructed. Then only we can be great democracy, right? If this is clear to you, mention yes. So you are getting good amount of arguments to be used in your mains answer. I hope you are getting it. Now, just check out the views of Miss Indira Gandhi ji. Moral value of fundamental duties would not be smother rights, because this was the contention. Oh, fundamental duties may smother rights, may deter rights, decrease rights. She said no, this is not real. Actually, it is to establish a democratic balance by making people conscious of their duties equally, because rights and duties are equal, means there should be a balance as they are conscious of their rights. So this was a statement by Ms. Indira Gandhi. Now, Verma Committee observation. So they said that existence of legal provisions for implementation of some of the fundamental duties should be made, and there are certain laws which are actually connected to this. For example, Prevention of Insults to National Honours Act, important, you can say, law, and this important law is connected to which fundamental duty? Tell me in comments. Come on. Can you mention the clause as well? In comments, fast. You should be quick. And that's why I was telling this in a story manner. First duty was Article 15A, subclause A. First duty was, come on, that you have to abide by the Constitution. You have to respect national flag, national anthem, right? Yeah, it is connected to A. Prevent disrespect to the Constitution of India, national flag, national anthem. So it means for first fundamental duty, we have a law. Okay, it means now this is legally enforceable. Then you have Protection of Civil Rights Act 1955, provides for punishment for offences related to caste and religion. And we just talked about brotherhood, no discrimination on the basis of religion line, region line, language line. So if there is discrimination on this basis of caste, then action can be taken as per Civil Rights Act 1955. Okay. Similarly, you have SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act, right? Indian Penal Code declares the imputations and assertions of prejudicial to national integration as punishable offences. It means any acts which are done by you, which are threat to the national security, then national integration, then action can be taken in this regard. The Representation of People Act 1951 provides for disqualification of MPs and MLAs if they engage into corruption, engage into corrupt practice, soliciting votes on the ground of religion. So this can be a basis of their disqualification. But the reality is these things happen, right? So it means there's a difference between what law says and what is happening on ground. And in future, we have to bridge this gap together. Now, promoting enmity between different sections of people means through hate speech based on caste, race, language, religion. You know, vote bank politics. So we have a law in this place, Representation of People Act. So it can be considered also a law enforcing fundamental duty. Then Wildlife Protection Act 1972 prohibits trade of rare and endangered species connected to protection of environment. So now what are the criticism? First criticism was that why you have not added some important duties as fundamental duties. For example, no nation can actually run without people paying taxes. Okay, so if you compare the tax reports of say 10 years back, you will find that in recent years the taxpayers, or you can say base of taxpayers, have increased after the decisions taken like Aadhaar card, PAN card seeding and seeding with bank account. So by these actions, considerable improvement is there, also with GST implementation. But the point is still so many people actually, they do this tax evasion, right? And if we are doing tax evasion, what is the demerit? That we are running a parallel economy which government is not aware about. It is unaccounted money, right? And if taxes pays, government will have revenue. If government will have revenue, government will be able to spend for the welfare of people. Family planning and so on. So these fundamental duties are not there. Duty to pay taxes was recommended by Swarn Singh committee. Swarn Singh committee also recommended that duty to pay tax should be there as a fundamental duty. Some of the duties, although you should know that every one of us pay taxes, right? There are indirect taxes. Even if you purchase a Parle G biscuit packet, so if the price is say 5 rupees and there is written inclusive of taxes. So indirect taxes we are paying, but here we are talking about other taxes as well. Okay. Some of the duties are vague, ambiguous, means confusing. And wherever there is no clarity in legal language, there are chances that it will not be followed, right? That is why we are saying it's a criticism. For example, different interpretations can be given to the phrases like noble ideas, composite culture, scientific temper. What will the meaning of scientific temper? So clear definition is not there. Apart from this, non-justifiable in nature. Sardar Swarn Singh was saying ki let's make them punishable. Inclusion of the constitution was described as superfluous. Why superfluous? Because it was said that you are adding them as fundamental duties, but they're not justifiable. So it is like there are some good words, good aspirations, but they are devoid of the practicality. Duties included in fundamental duties are fundamental, performed by the people even though they are not incorporated. So many fundamental duties we performed even if they are not incorporated. Respecting our national flag, respecting our national heritage, respecting the ideals on which this freedom struggle was fought, right? But still you should know that documenting them in one place and keep on pushing realization of these duties is definitely going to add value. Inclusion in part 4 was reduce their value and significance. It is said that duties are of such importance that they should have been included equal to part 3. Why you have added in part 4A, capital 4A, right? Because it says that fundamental rights are important. That is why you have mentioned in part 3, and part 4A you have added later, and that's also after DPSP. So this is one ground of criticism. So this can be your shortcut to learn. As I told you, just remember keywords. So this shortcut can be used when question is which of the following statement, which of the following provision is not mentioned as fundamental duty. So you can say FSSDH, HESPE. So HESPE and FSSDH. And you know, flag, national struggle, sovereign defense, harmony, excellence, public property, scientific temper, environment, heritage. Okay. Now just attempt this question. Which of the following statement is a true of the fundamental duties of an Indian Constitution? First statement says, you have to attempt this question. A legislative process has been provided to enforce duties. They are correlative to legal duties. Now tell me, what's the answer? A, B, C, D. Come on, fast. In comments. Abhi, Dheeraj, Mobinul, everyone. Those who are going to watch this class in video, I would advise if you just participate, like you just put a comment. Okay, some are saying A. Let's understand what the meaning of this sentence. A legislative process has been provided to enforce these duties. Now tell me, fundamental duties, part 4A. So in any provision, have you seen the provision talking about legislative process? I have not studied as such. So it means legislative process is not mentioned there. Okay. So they are correlative to legal duties, although we use the word correlative. But in what context? Rights and duties are correlative. And the explanation I gave you, that if you perform your duties, everyone perform their duties, then rights will be ensured, right? So there's a balance. But the word is legal duties. So that is not correct, because there can be n number of legal duties. And how is it necessary that they are dependent or correlated with fundamental duties, right? That is why answer is 4. Okay. So I hope it is clear. Next question that you have to perform, you have to attempt. Okay. And this PDF will be available in the Telegram group, and you can look at the explanation. Okay. So this is an offer which is going on. So if anyone of you is looking for a course, then this code can be used. By this, a double validity and extra 3% will be there. So that's for your service. Now, Telegram group is Shashank Tyagi for you. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter, I'm available, and I would love to help you out in any way possible. If you have any doubt, you can shoot me a message. See you in the next video. Till then, keep learning, keep growing.